Tonight at 6, Big Brother round goes global. Tony Blair and Gordon Brown drawn into the debate which threatens to become an international incident. Protesters take to the streets in India as the government there threatens to take action. And Shilpa's mum joins in.
Somebody treating you rude or bad or, racial discrimination thrown at you. No, she has never experienced.
This is Sky News with Jeremy Thompson and Anna Botting.
Very good evening. Our top story at 6. They weren't quite called to the diary room, but both Tony Blair and Gordon Brown were dragged into the Big Brother debate today as the outcry over racist bullying threatened to become an international incident.
Well, the Prime Minister was quizzed on the row during his weekly Q&A with MPs, and Gordon Brown's trip to India was overshadowed as protesters took to the streets, burning effigies of the show's producers.
Channel 4 has just said there has been no overt racial abuse or behaviour directed against Shilpa, and that any such behaviour would not be tolerated. Sky's Rachel Ammett is at Elstree with the very latest. Rachel.
Good evening, Jeremy. Well, you know you're in an interesting situation, don't you? When the sayings of Jade Goody and her newfound friends threaten to have an impact on international trade talks. Of course, in the House, despite what you see around me here, they're absolutely oblivious to all of this because it's so protected from the outside world. But at the moment, with this row deepening by the minute, they must be the only ones who don't.
Thank you, Jeff. Celebrity Big Brother isn't even screened in India, but it's certainly got a reaction in the home of one of this year's stars. And what the producers dismissed as a bit of girly rivalry has become a political race row that's spread halfway round the world. Critics are burning Endemol effigies on the streets, India wants an apology, and the arguments even reached Prime Minister's questions.
I have not seen the particular programme in question, therefore can't comment on it. But of course, I would agree entirely with the principle that he has outlined, which is that we should oppose racism in all its forms.
Gordon Brown's in India to talk about the economy, not reality TV, but even he couldn't escape.
I understand that in the United Kingdom there have been already 10,000 complaints from viewers about these remarks that people see rightly as offensive. I want Britain to be seen around the world as a country of tolerance.
I thought you would confront me. I swear to my God, I swear to
Scenes like this obviously don't do Britain's reputation abroad much good. But what about the programme's makers, Channel 4 and Endemol? In the past few days, an unprecedented number of complaints about the show have been received by the television watchdog Ofcom, doubling the previous record held by Jerry Springer and putting the number of grumbles about Saddam Hussein's execution into the shade.
Well, I think there has become an increased appetite, which is unfortunate, for what I would describe as lowbrow voyeurism. It's arguable as to whether Big Brother's drifted into that area now, but certainly if they're a brand that is perceived to drift into that kind of description, then they're a brand in danger.
Or is it?
You said to me,
no, I don't want to fight in front of these cameras.
After scenes like these, audience figures are up by more than 20%. And the programme's sponsor, the Carphone Warehouse, says it has no plans to pull a deal worth around £3 million a year.
I think Carphone Warehouse are sort of a bit nervous and clearly wanting to just sort of look at what's going on. However, if they pull out, would there be another willing sponsor? Of course there would.
So is this bullying, racism or both? Some observers feel television like this is valuable because it reflects latent racism endemic in the wider world.
Asian people generally have said, well, hang on, we're not happy about this. We want to voice an opinion. To a certain degree, they're also voicing their own opinions about what they've been through themselves over the years in this country, which is very interesting. I think it's a great revelation, I really do.
If all publicity is good publicity, then it's possible Big Brother's makers knew exactly what they were doing when they put this mix of contestants into the house. Viewers wanting to register their disgust at all this can, of course, always turn off, because with ratings on the up, the last thing Big Brother's likely to do is pull the plug.
Rachel is at Elstree, and we have now heard word in the last few minutes from Channel 4 and the producers of the programme.
That's right, yeah. They say there's been no overt racism or racist incidents as far as they have been able to see. They point out too that Shilpa Shetty herself hasn't complained. What is interesting, of course, is they don't say if they intend to take any action. The Big Brother rules say any contestants found guilty of any kind of bullying or racism can be summarily evicted. Well, Big Brother at the moment is saying they don't think there's been any evidence of that. It would be interesting, though, if there wasn't some warning given to the contestants after this amount of fuss. Of course, they're not mentioning that because they all want us to tune in and find out tonight, pushing those viewing figures up by even more.
Rachel, thank you.
Well, staying with that story, our political editor Adam Bolton is at Westminster for us, and people around the world talking about Britain in a racist context. Adam, certainly seems to have got the politicians worried.
Yes, it has. What's interesting is we're hearing senior politicians commenting at the same time as saying, well, actually, they're not watching Celebrity Big Brother. We've heard in the last hour or two from David Cameron, who's saying that he too abhors racism and that if viewers don't like what they're seeing, he recommends that they switch off watching Big Brother. So cross-party condemnation on this issue of racism, which is, of course, an important one in other contexts here at Westminster and nationally. And it's interesting that one of the points that both Gordon Brown and Number 10 are making is that they believe the public outcry shows that Britain has moved forward and that racism is something which most people don't want to tolerate.
Yeah, certainly even the Indian government says it plans to raise the issue with Britain. An interesting few days for Gordon Brown ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon Brown over there obviously on mainly a trade and economic visit. He's taken a brace of ministers with him. And what he's basically discovering is if you are seen as Prime Minister in waiting, you can't just get on with your planned agenda. You do have to respond. And of course, this is inevitably a touchy subject in India, where they have the whole history of the British Raj and the attitude then towards the indigenous peoples, which obviously touches a raw nerve. Now, Gordon Brown doesn't like being blown off course, but one does have to say, listening to what he had to say today about Big Brother, indeed listening to his reaction earlier in the year on the subject of Saddam Hussein's execution, he seems to be managing to get it right when he does try and leave his pet subjects and talk in line with the national mood.
Adam at Westminster, thank you. Well, Shilpa Shetty's mother has been speaking out against the treatment and expressed concerns over the long-term effects on her daughter. She spoke exclusively to our India correspondent Alex Crawford in Mumbai.
She is a huge star in India, a Bollywood babe with a string of acting awards to her name and a bank balance to match. So in her home country, the treatment being meted out to one of their best-known stars is being viewed with astonishment and some dismay.
It's completely uncalled for. It's not good. It's not good. She should quit and come back. Finish? No? She should tell others to vote her out.
This is supposed to be reality. And if this is what is reality in the West, and especially where the show is being made, I think it's a very sad comment.
The actress still lives at home with her mother in Mumbai, and the trip to London was her first unchaperoned. Her mother had doubts about her doing the show, which they can only view on the internet in India, and is shocked at the clips she's seen of Shilpa crying.
I've never seen Shilpa sit and cry. Crying over a game, over somebody treating you rude or bad or, racial discrimination thrown at you. No, she has never experienced. She's only... She, I think, has been only blessed with a lot of love.
The actress might shimmy with the best of them and pose provocatively, but she's led a protected life, surrounded by family and loyal servants. And her mother bargained hard for tough clauses when Shilpa signed up.
It was put across to them that she wouldn't be doing certain things and there would be no cameras in the bathroom or the shower room. She wouldn't be wearing two-piece bikinis. She wouldn't be getting into the swimming pool. She wouldn't do any lip-to-lip kissing with either female or male as part of a task. And she won't cook or eat beef. These are a few things that go against our Indian culture.
The family photos at home in Mumbai show a young woman at ease with India's movers and shakers, but devoted to her family, whose first brush with racism has been on a British television show.
We never in our wildest imagination thought it would, reach a situation it has today, which seems a little alarming and, painful to watch or hear.
Certainly money was not the motivation.
She doesn't lack money, and she could make much more here if she wanted to. I mean, she's got 2 films now which is ready for completion. They're good films, they're big films.
Ready? Shilpa had already made it in the biggest film industry in the world, but perhaps yearned for recognition in a country India still holds a little in thrall. By appearing on British reality TV, she's instead exposed the nasty underbelly of UK society. Alex Crawford, Sky News, Mumbai.